Hello, mutants. I'm Mutisha, the movie goddess, and you're watching Mutant TV.
Here's Streebo. Welcome back, MVP. Streebo here with you as always from mutantville.com, but you knew that already because you see mutantville.com all around this video. It's time for another Streebo vlog. Thursday is quickly approaching, and I don't feel like writing anything complex tonight. So it's easier for me to just talk to the camera for a little bit and then upload this instead for my blog posts. So just in case you didn't notice, we've been trying to post individual blog posts on the mutantville.com website for the past few weeks. So every Tuesday G.H.O.S.T posts, every Wednesday Brento posts, and every Thursday I post. So here's my contribution for the week. And I'm sure you're wondering, why do I have The Shining in my hand? Well, I figured I would talk about the upcoming Halloween season this time. And The Shining is a movie that in a lot of ways represents Halloween to me. One, because it's just scary as hell. But two, because it was one of 3 movies I remember watching pieces of on Halloween nights. Now, to recap, I was not allowed to watch horror films growing up as a child, okay? My parents wouldn't allow it in the house. So anytime I wanted to see one, I basically had to go to a friend's house or just be somewhere else where they had cable or what have you. But, you know, as a kid in the South in the old days, we used to get into our costumes and just go from door to door, from neighborhood to neighborhood. I mean, we would just walk and walk until we were fatigued and fallen down, and would come back. And sometimes we actually would have to call our parents and be like, okay, we're out too far, come pick us up, which that was okay. It was all for that big bag of candy at the end of the night. That was the proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But The Shining was one, I remember seeing a piece of it. I'm in my costume. I don't know what it was. Might have been Captain Kirk. I know I was Batman one year. I was Frodo before it was in vogue. I know I was a Superman one year. One year I was E.T. So it was one of those. And I walk in and they're watching The Shining on TV. And I think I actually asked, what are y'all watching? And they said, it's The Shining. And it was part where Nicholson is chasing him through the snow. I don't want to spoil too much of anything, but for anybody that hasn't seen The Shining, but, you know, heaven forbid. I just thought it was wild and crazy for the part that I saw. And then over the years, I just saw more and more pieces of it until I finally watched the movie itself and really got creeped out by it. And, yeah, so that's how this ties into Halloween, because as a kid, that was one of those pieces of movies that I saw that, of real horror films that really kind of creeped me out. Other ones being Halloween 3 and Friday the 13th Part 2, I believe it was, Part 2, not the first one. Same thing, go into somebody's house, they're watching the movie on Halloween night, get my candy, the whole time I'm standing there watching the movie going, wow, what is that? So, now, interesting thing is, I've been working on G.H.O.S.T, so I apologize. I'm behind on messages on Twitter. I'm barely making my daily posts to the Mutantville blog in time. You know, I haven't even been posting to the fan page too much, just because it's all my focus has been about getting the final cut of G.H.O.S.T ready, because we've got to finalize the visual effects, and we have to finalize the sound design, and we have to finalize the score. And in order to do that, we have to have the final cut locked and in place. Now, to kind of invoke the mood that I want for G.H.O.S.T, I've been watching The Shining, but I've also been on kind of a Kubrick kick as of late. So it's interesting. I've been watching The Shining Blu-ray. Check that bad boy out. Beautiful. Great special effects. Gorgeous picture. Well worth the purchase. But I've also been on a weird Kubrick phase as of late. I've always been into his movies. The Shining, Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket. Not like always, like since they came out, but for a long time before I really started to think about Stanley Kubrick as a director. 2001 also, and even Eyes Wide Shut. Those are probably my favorite Stanley Kubrick films. And strangely enough, I have them all right here. Now, I don't want to go off on some kind of weird Stanley Kubrick rant at the moment. Those are a little bit too far away. Because, I don't know, he deserves his own video. But I've been watching The Shining, because Shining is essentially a ghost story, kind of, whatever. And, you know, I'm trying to invoke that mood and tone and everything for Ghost, although Ghost is nothing like The Shining, obviously. I'm not trying to mimic it or recreate it. It doesn't have anything to do with it, but it's what I'm aiming for. So I like to expose myself to as much A-level stuff when I'm working on things creatively as possible. So I have no time for this bullshit. That's why I won't watch a movie when somebody says to me that it's okay or whatever, or parts of it were good, but most of it wasn't. I want to watch the best stuff. So, my buddy Steve is one of my actors, also who's in Ghost. Recommended that I go see Drive, so I'm gonna think about checking out Drive. I might go see it this weekend because he says it's awesome. Now, I want to see that, and there's not a big horror release this week since there was we had all those releases over the past month. We've got a little bit of a lapse this weekend, which is fine. And then we're going to have the big horror Halloween season kick in. But The Shining, now, something interesting. Now, to prove how much I must be a fan of this movie, look at this crap. I have the VHS. I have the DVD. I have the Blu-ray. This is the first ever movie that I've owned in 3 different media formats. That's ridiculous. And I think it's the only movie that I own in all those formats. How crazy is that? But that's a great movie. And, of course, all that leads us to Ghost. Now, I wrote down some notes here about things I could talk about, because I have no idea what this vlog is going to be about. The thing with vlogs are you just kind of talk to the camera and things come out and happen. I'm already at the 8-minute mark. I don't think I've said much of anything, so... Here are some of my potential subjects. Ghost update, Final Cut screening. I think I talked about that a little bit. Super fans versus super haters. VHS videos. Promoting versus art. Netflix. Selling. Contest versus stories. Actors mad. Final product. Reviews never posted. Videos to come. Oh yeah. All my potential subject matter there for the verbal diarrhea that you get from Streebo's mouth. Wow, Netflix. Nah. I put my account on hold. They famously upped the price this past month. I actually renewed in August. But when I renewed, they went ahead and charged me for the price increase, though it hadn't come into effect yet. I didn't realize that until after the fact, so I was kind of pissed about it. I'm glad they lost a lot of subscribers, but people will go back to them. I'll go back to them. I'm pissed that they're changing everything, because it was awesome. Netflix was like, it was too good to be true. For the longest time, man, if you were a horror fan, that's where you got the best rare shit. I mean, everything. I'm sitting here, every movie that comes to mind, whether it's, you know, especially foreign stuff, Takashi Miike, Gozu, Tarkovsky, I mean, Solaris. What's that other guy's name? There's so many. And then there's weird ones. What's the name of that one with the little girl? Valerie and her Week of Wonders. Is that what it is? Valerie and her Week of Wonders. Weird movie. Eyes Without a Face. The list just goes on and on. Anything you can think of. For the longest time, Netflix was where you got it. And it's, you know, $10, $14, $15, $20 a month. And you're like, whoa, I have access to everything. That was really how my own knowledge and expansion about films, horror, storytelling, what have you, came about, was because of the synthesis of Netflix with the internet, where I could go on to forums, whether it was the IMDb or a place like Dead Pit, and talk to my fellow fans and peers and ask questions and get advice on movies to see. you know, just on whatever I was working on at the time. And I still do that on IMDb Horror Board. That's my favorite place to go because I'll get good, honest responses. I'll go on there and post questions all the time just to see what kind of advice people give me, what kind of feedback I get. And I also like to go on there and I will review movies for people. Independent filmmakers will post links to their videos on the IMDb Horror Board, and if I see one, I'll watch it and I'll critique it for them. Now, I have an art school background, and in art school, if you've ever had that experience, critiquing is the same. That's a euphemism for death by firing squad. It's where you line up whoever the poor soul is who has their work of art that one is critiquing, and you just take shots at them and tell them everything that's wrong with it. So it's kind of my critiquing style, but I do it in a positive, negative, positive frame where I start out, I tell them what the positive things were to encourage them, then I give them all the negative stuff and try my best not to crush their souls if it's that bad, and then back to remind them of the positives and things they can work on and the things they should focus on. And I have a lot of people ask me to review their films, and that's something I really dig. I just need to warn some people that I do not like black comedy, over-the-top horror films, like Tromaville kind of stuff. If I want to see trauma, I go watch Lloyd Kaufman. The majority of low-budget, no-budget comedy stuff is just crap. It's bullshit. I'm sorry to tell you guys that, but I'd rather tell you here en masse than individually, and why everything you're doing is a waste of time. Because, yeah, well, there's already a trauma out there. They've got the market on that stuff. So focus on the stories. But, you know, people say I'm too on the fence, but I'm a philosophical individual, and in that, if those stories are what you're burning to tell, if that's where your desire lies, if that's where your bliss, your passion goes, go for it. Make the most of it. It's just letting you know how I feel about it. VHS videos. I actually have a decent stack of them, and I'm going to shoot a video on it sometime. So weird that I just made that realization just today, The Shining, that I had this on 3 medium. That's pretty interesting. I have a note here. Reviews never posted. Yeah, there's so many movies I've watched over the past. The time that I've considered myself a hardcore horror fan, I guess, has been since 2003, when we started making movies. It was just kind of like, okay, well, this is what we do. So I started really studying it and getting into it. When we started with Zombie Hunter, which a lot of people haven't even heard about, but if you're part of MVP, you have, and you've probably seen some of that footage. It's a mess, but it was fun. That was our black comedy over the top thing, so that's why I know it's a waste of time. I did it myself. Reviews I never posted: Alien vs. Predator, Requiem, Sweeney Todd, The Crazies. Now, actually, I never shot a review for Sweeney Todd, so that was one I couldn't post, but I did shoot one for Aliens vs. Predator, Requiem. That was never posted because somebody else was supposed to post it, Brent, but it's okay, I forgive you, I'm just saying. And The Crazies, I actually shot a review for The Crazies, and then I never edited it. I just wasn't thrilled with it. I thought the review was kind of bland and boring, and the only reason I would have posted it is just to have it on the internet, and I just felt like, you know what, it's just not worth the effort. I think I gave that movie a 7. I thought it was pretty decent, actually, the Crazies remake. Maybe it was just a 6. I don't know. I haven't seen it again since. I mean, that's what kind of an impact it's left on me. That's one of the things about movies, how you can really rate them highly is by, you know, their rewatchability, and especially with new and recent movies. I mean, if I see something that really excites me and makes me want to watch it again, instead of just walking away from it and saying, oh, I don't ever need to see that again, I get really excited. And that's why I feel like horror is in a positive place right now. Even though the releases have slowed way down, there are still good independent releases. I talk about them all the time. And there's really good stuff at the independent filmmaking level. I've seen some movies this year I really, really like Junker by Chris Gervais, Desdemona 6. Earlier this year would have been, no, maybe that was last year. I was going to say Robert Fillion's Promise Jar, but he might have done that last year. But anyway, that's a movie I really, really dig of Robert's. I think to date it's his best work, but he's about to shoot his next one called Athena next month, and MVP is going to help him out on that, and I'm excited about that because I get to help somebody else who I really admire as a filmmaker and an artist. And we get to work on a set that's not ours, so I don't have to make any decisions. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is show up on shoot day and do my job and then go home. So that's the part I'm looking forward to the most. Filmmaking is fun, but man, when you're running the show and making sure everything that is being done that needs doing, life is tough. Life is very, very stressful. Alright, I can see we're heading towards the 20-minute mark. So, that's my clandestine way to scratch my nose since I pointed that out last time. What should I talk about? Super fans versus super haters. Let me see if I can. I'll do these in bullet points. How about that? Super fans versus super haters. I consider myself a super fan. When I go to movies, I say, okay, show me what you got. I want to see what's going on. I sit there and I go with the ride. If they lose me along the way, I know it's not a good movie. If I follow it to the end and I enjoy myself, I know it's something good. Super haters, in my opinion, they're kind of starting to outnumber everybody else in the fan community, at least online. Now, not so much in person, because a lot of people aren't really hateful in person, but I don't know. Fans have reached this kind of weird Ouroboros stage where the snake is eating its own tail, where they want everything and then complain about everything and feel entitled to everything. They're doing things like watching movies illegally, downloading work prints and judging them by that, or downloading the scripts before the movies are complete and reading the scripts and judging the movie by that. I mean, these are insane actions, people. Okay, it's like taking a sketch of finding a sketch of the Mona Lisa and going, man, this is shit, and crumbling it up and throwing it away. You have to judge it on the Mona Lisa, okay? You have to judge the movie on the final product itself, not the script, not a work print. Although some work prints can be pretty close, but when music and even effects change, I mean, they're totally different end results. So, yeah, so much for a bullet point on that. I have a ton of VHS videos. I probably will shoot one on that and just show them off to everybody like this. I do have to say, VHS might be, the VHS video store era might be the greatest era for movie covers, poster art, just video box cover art. Because look at this. Okay, there's the VHS for The Shining. There's the DVD cover. And there's the Blu-ray cover. Now, mind you, I do like the black on this, and they changed the font. Look how boring that one is. It's just got the picture, and it's all in white. I think the Kubert collection was in white in DVD. But look at the VHS. Okay, yeah, it's in black. But they go that extra mile. Look up here in the top. They got that weird look of, that weird view of Jack. I guess that's Jack Nicholson. But that's actually on the, is it on the British Quad poster? I think so. Maybe one of my friends out there will tell me. Wow. Yeah, so that was the era of great poster work, and that's something I put a lot of thought into, because whether you know it or not, I'm getting cotton mouth. Whether you know it or not, I do have a hand in designing all the images and promotional materials that you see from Mutantville Productions, whether it's Ghost, Devil Comes Down, even Indigo Child. I put input into it all. Now, mind you, whoever the producer, director, writer is behind each project kind of has final say-so, because those are the individuals carrying the vision. So when it comes to something like Respawner and Indigo Child, Brent has the final say-so. When it comes to Scarecrow at Midnight or Ghost, you know, then I have the final say so. With Geo, he has Family Fiend at present. You know, maybe he'll direct another movie one day. Who knows? But so I think a lot about poster art, and I get really disappointed and dismayed by the kind of art and cover images I see at the independent level. I think 90% of them are dog shit. I mean, they're bad. They're bad Photoshop hack jobs. The fonts look like shit. The taglines are unengaging, unoriginal. Usually even the movie titles themselves are no good. They're just not engaging. Now, I don't know what to tell you about what the hard and fast rule of coming up with a good movie title is. Shit, somebody might say all mine are bad. But to me, I think they pique someone's interest when they hear them. Devil Comes Down for a zombie movie. I did that on purpose because I wanted a zombie movie without the word dead in the title. And I thought, hey, instead of dead, let's go with the devils. Devil Comes Down. Scarecrow at Midnight. C for Chaos. Ghost with the... it's not an anagram. What's the damn word for it? Oh, I always get them mixed up. But it's G period, H period, O period, S period, T period. So it's ghost. So when somebody says it, instead of just saying ghost, they have to give you that whole damn explanation, and all those little periods are in there. And when you see it in that way, and you go, what does that stand for? Which it does stand for something, mind you, but I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. So people have to think about that stuff. They really do. 22 minutes in. How long do you think we can make this vlog? I have no idea. Promoting versus art. There's something I have weird feelings on, because I got into this because I'm a storyteller, I'm an artist. I hate saying it like that because it sounds pretentious, but it's what I do. I create stories in one form or another. And that's where the great joy comes from. But at the independent level, one has to promote oneself. That's all there is to it, because no one else is going to do it. Now, in all the time that I've been doing this, I've never been asked on a podcast for an interview until now. I've got one pending. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's some people that I really dig, I think are really cool. But I don't like to show my hand before things actually happen, because then, you know, God must have been trying to send me a message to tell me to wrap it up, because the camera memory card just filled up. I had to empty everything off. So, totally lost my train of thought. Even though it's only been a millisecond for you, it's been 20 minutes for me. I was talking about promoting myself. Oh yeah. God, that's such a long subject. I'm just going to leave it for next time. We're already heading towards 25 minutes. I don't think people are going to watch any of this stuff. But I just wanted to let you all know I'm excited about getting the final cut of Ghost ready. After that, the finishing touches are going to be put on Indigo Child, so Tales from Mutantville will be complete. So we're going to have 2 products coming out bang bang back to back. I'm going to take Ghost, hopefully have a red carpet premiere in Charlotte in the winter time, and then just play it theater by theater from town to town, just old school, just like throwing the reels in the trunk, driving it from one town to the next. If it doesn't sell in one town, change the fucking title, head to the next town. We're going to do it old school, Roger Corman, AIP style. Though I don't see myself changing the title of the movie anytime soon. Hopefully, you know, we'll draw some kind of interest. It seems to be a project people are interested in. I have a lot of people ask me about it. So I'm excited to get Ghost ready and done. So we're going to have the big cast and crew screening at the end of the month, just for the people that were involved, so they can go ahead and see it. We can talk to them all about the plans for the future. And Ghost is going to be on DVD. Tales from Mutantville will be on DVD. We're going to start hitting the festival circuit next year. Again, all kinds of stuff. Mad Monster Party, Con Carolinas, Fright Night Film Fest for certain. Maybe Texas Frightmare. Maybe another Horror Hound. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I've got a shit ton of work to do. I had to I've uploaded the complete version of the movie without any of the temporary music tracks that I put into it, so that our composer can watch it and start putting music to it. But I messed up and I left a few of the temp tracks in, so I had to go and take those out of the assembly and then just fix a few other little errors that I found. And now I've got to render the whole movie off again. And I'm telling you what, it took 24 hours last time to render the entire movie. It's only an hour and 24 minutes long, but it took 24 hours to render. So it's almost midnight now. If I start it now, it will be done midnight tomorrow. And then I can re-upload it so that our composer can watch that and start using that version instead. So a lot of work to do. Now, as soon as I set this to run, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna try to type. Boy, that's just blowing the screen right out, isn't it? But I'm going to try to do my final rewrites on the Metatron files. That's something I'm real excited about. We're going to be casting for that in October. But we're probably not going to shoot it till spring, maybe late winter. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm more concerned with a lot of other things right now. And I got to update the website and this and that. And this is my contribution, but I've got to edit this and get this all together first. So that brings us to the end of Streebo Rama. I think that's about all I can take. I'm sure that's all you can take. I've still got a ton of other things to talk about on here. I've still got to edit my interviews from the Fright Night Film Fest. I've got a Ghost Trek interview, T-Shirt Joe, Larry Drake, Charles Edward Poe, J.D. Feigelson, Jim Kelly, and of course the John Carpenter interview, which we're going to release 1 week before Halloween to promote the Myers House NC Halloween Bash this year. It's the 3rd annual Myers House Halloween Bash. It's a lot of fun. Check out the website, myersHouseNC.com, and come join the fun. Kenny is going to play Scarecrow at midnight first. Then he's going to play Michael Sharp's Deviling, and then Halloween 6. So it's going to be a fun show. Hope to see you there. If not, we'll see you next time. I'm sure there are going to be plenty more updates between now and then. So we're going to be helping Robert Fillion with his movie, shooting on the weekends. We're doing finishing touches on digital and sound for Ghost. Screening is coming up. We've got Scarecrow Midnight screenings coming up. A lot of cool movies coming out. I hesitate to follow that up by saying the Thing prequel is coming out, but I am interested in it because it is a prequel, not a straight remake. So I'm hoping that'll be cool at least. And then Paranormal Activity for Halloween. So Paranormal Activity 3 for Halloween, rather. So there's going to be some fun things going on. It's going to be a fun Halloween. And we will be there to escort you along the way, every step of the way. Thank you for watching. You are the guys that make it all possible. Thank you for support. I love each and every one of you. We're all just actors in this grand production in this cosmos we call life. Thanks for joining me. Mutantville.com.
You're watching Mutant TV.